Good morning.
Hello. I'm back. I was gone last week.
I
Sorry.
know, but at least you're here. And but
I,
Lori did a good job.
yeah, so I was like, how did it go? Did the computers give her trouble? Did the stream give her trouble? And it seemed like it went pretty good.
No, I think it went okay. Not knowing, never doing it before. I think she did just fine.
So yeah, there's a lot of people already talking about the new podcast episode that went up this morning. Um, and if you haven't been following along, this morning's episode was on the Stanley Hotel. Um, I was actually walking around, and Marianne was filling us in on all of the ghosts who were there in the building that were willing to talk, because there were a few. Um, like I kept thinking about that young man in that one suite that was like, nope, just right on the other side of that door. Wouldn't
Wouldn't
say
even
anything.
nope.
um, but yeah, so as we wait for a few, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, hello from Rhode Island. I'm telling you, Marianne, we got to get a map and start,
Put little
putting.
colored pins in where everybody's at. Yeah.
Mhm. Um, so let's see. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for letting her know. I'll let her know. And hey, Brooke, and please stay safe. I have your email and I haven't responded yet, but I'm thinking of you.
Yeah,
Um,
everybody down there in Florida, just be careful.
yeah. Um, thank you, everybody. And Sue's already listened to it, and I'm glad she loved it. So, um, Marianne, what was your kind of first impression of seeing the Stanley? Maybe not in person, but just through an iPad screen.
You
Trying
know,
not to get sick with me walking.
right, a couple of things. The ghosts that are in the Stanley, in my opinion, are not your normal ghosts. I almost get the attitude. They almost have the same attitude as ghosts and castles in Europe. It's their job to scare people, to make noise. And because the hotel is so old, it lends itself perfectly to this with the creaks and the doors rattling, and because it's not all earthbound spirits. But it was interesting. I guess it keeps them going with their ghosts, so I guess that's the important thing.
Well, and that leads into Amy's question, asking if my room on the floor had any activity. And now, mind you, that fourth floor is considered their most. They won't say haunted; they say spirited. I don't know if there's a legality to that or not. I do think most of the ghosts that we talked to, Marianne, a lot of them are on the fourth and third floors.
Right.
But
And some of them said where the other ones were in the building, but we couldn't get to all the floors. First of all,
right, like,
it's a little hard because the, the hotel is not closed. There were clients and guests in and out. The doors were opening and closing. The lobby was full. And you never know if a ghost is attached to somebody that just walked in or if it was a hotel ghost.
true, and that's the thing. You never know. But there was nothing in our room whatsoever. Didn't pick up anything. Nothing happened. It's a little bit of a letdown over that. Um, didn't really pick up anything at all.
Well, see,
Uh,
if you were if you fainted at the sight or the word ghost, if you passed out, you would have been a perfect guest there, and you could have screamed up and down how haunted it was, just because of the way your door was rattling in your room from the
yes, that is
window, and it was
so.
it. Yeah, so you can tell how it didn't fit in the frame the way it was supposed to.
Oh, right, right. So yeah, you would think for the money that was spent for that room, and it wasn't even a suite. It had a couple zeros at the end of it. that your deadbolt would lock, and it doesn't. So as I'm laying there trying to go to sleep, I'm being annoyed by the door moving. Now, mind you, also in this hotel, in the older part, because there's newer buildings. But if you want the original old building, there is not central air in this building. So you have a little portable air conditioner with a dryer vent hose that's going to the outside. The rest of the window is not blocked. So you've got all of this open window with no screen blowing in, hence sinus and allergies that I'm still dealing with. So now you've got like this vacuum happening. So this door is moving. And my first thought, and I'm like, because of this, if we shut the door or if we shut the window, then it's going to get hot, So I'm struggling with it. And Scott had to come over and like really push it and like put the chain across to keep the door from, just shimmying enough. But that's me. That was my, like, I know it's because that window's open.
Right. And you figured it out, but how many people are laying there gripping the blankets thinking, come on, I want a ghost to do something. And then the door starts rattling.
Right.
Doesn't take much.
Right. So, I did have my seat on. I think Brooke asked. I did have it on. So they weren't going to be able to get close enough to try and touch or anything. And of course, laying in bed, that kind of put a little bit of a shield on Scott. He's not going to get, touched either. But like nothing else was moving in the room, nothing else. TV wasn't coming on or off or, nothing of the sort. So it was kind of anticlimactic. I mean, there are the ghosts there. Marianne, you saw them. You were able to communicate with them. But it seems like maybe the hotel ghosts really were kind of over the whole, like, let's scare everybody. They're like, eh.
It seemed to me that they probably were more with you when you finally went on a tour with them, because that would be their job, to antagonize or to scare or poke at who's ever in the group.
Which we did do that tour.
Yes.
And there's supposed to be a couple entities, whatever, that are supposed to be not so nice. I didn't catch any of those. There's one little picture that we'll put up here in a minute that might have something that Marianne's like, yeah. But of all of the pictures, like, nothing. But there are ghosts. It's just the regular.
Just how active are they? And in all honesty, you were right in between a new moon and a full moon. So, but still, hotel ghosts usually have a lot of energy because of all the people.
Now let's talk about a quick thing that they say in their walk, that because the hotel is built with some foundation of quartz and I believe the limestone, they believe that is the battery that runs all of their ghost activity. I snickered when I heard that. But is there any truth to this, Marianne?
Oh, no. And that's a real good statement to see my eyeball stuck up in my head. So absolutely not. Why would they hang out in people's houses? They need human energy, not energy from a stone. Oh my gosh. No. But,
okay.
I guess they have to say something.
I've heard this before on some of the haunted shows and everything, that, certain places are so haunted because of the quartz and limestone. And I'm like, there are gemstones, quartz, whatever, underneath all of our feet if you dig far enough down and look for
it. Right.
So that doesn't really hold true for me. But that was one of their last things, because we were in this tunnel that was supposed to be through the mountain that was so haunted. And to get access into this tunnel, because it was this really cool wooden, thick, heavy door with the square, almost like dungeon little thing over it. And I'm like, oh, I want to go in there. I'm like, I'm paying to go on this. Y'all, it was like an unfinished basement. That was like maybe 40 feet long. I was so disappointed. I was kind of mad at that.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
like, my basement in my old house looked like this.
Yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
most basements are creepy, let's face it.
So, um, speaking of Scott, he had nothing either, and he's a really good skeptic. But he was taking pictures, he was trying, and he's like, I got nothing. So I was kind of hoping that there would be like that one thing that would get him to be like, oh, nope, Stanley didn't do it.
No, 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 not at all. And I really wonder if you could actually talk to the man. I mean, he's been dead for us such a long time. I really wonder because this was not the intent when he built that hotel. I'm really curious to know what he thinks about how it's turned out now.
It would be interesting, but we didn't really get a hold of him. We didn't find him.
No, we
Um,
didn't.
Vicky says maybe the Earthbounds at the Stanley saw how laid back I was, and that's why they didn't really give too much effort.
Like I said, I think Vicky, you hit on it sort of because I think they're probably more active when the guides are taking people through on the ghost walk. I think that's where I'm figuring that the ghosts think, oh, here's my job. It's time for me to go to work now. When we were doing it, it was after hours, and the hotel. Now, there was a play or something going on, and there was apparently there were quite a few in one of the restaurants. The one said, but we weren't anywhere near those places, and it would have been too hard.
Right. So Rhonda is asking where is the Stanley and its haunted background. So it's actually in Estes Park, Colorado. And the Stephen King movie The Shining uses the outside of the hotel. None of that movie was filmed inside of the original Shining. So
and there is a hotel somewhere. I don't know if it's Wyoming, I don't know if it's Wisconsin, but there is a hotel somewhere in one of those states or out that way that they did use the inside of that hotel for The Shining. So they used two different hotels.
Yeah, and this is where Evil Land can help clarify, because there was also the remake of The Shining, and that could have been in. And I want to say Dumb and Dumber used parts of that movie. They've got a whole wall of like movies that were actually filmed insides of it.
Okay.
But it's up there in Estes Park.
But does the other hotel, whichever one it is, do they advertise that they had anything to do with The Shining, or do they advertise that the fourth floor is haunted or anything like that?
That I don't know.
Yes, see, it's quiet.
Yeah. And Steve Brooks says the miniseries was actually filmed a bit on. So it's interesting, but there really was no haunted history about the Stanley Hotel until that movie came out.
Correct.
So, it's fun.
I think people have tried to do that with different movies over the years anyway. Even Three Men and a Baby.
Right.
They said that there were ghosts on the set of that. And so
it was a cardboard cutout
that was standing behind the drape. Exactly right. I don't know where the rifle came from, because there was supposedly a rifle there too. But it's like, and believe me, I've been on enough sets and enough studios. Some of these people are so bored waiting for whatever their job is on the set that they really prank each other out a lot. I mean, they really do. They have to do something to have fun. And they really do. And I mean, I actually watched one guy do something to one of the guys that holds they're called the best boy, the guy that holds the mic over somebody's head on the long pole. And he was trying to hook something to the back of his jacket while he was working. Yeah, so they play around with one another all the time.
Oh, that's funny. So let's see. Nikki, and fun fact, guys, everybody who loves my cup, Nikki's actually the one who made it for me.
Okay.
And Nikki's the one who's in my old haunted, non-haunted house. And here's a thing, Marianne. So remember how many times I have joked that because the seeds work for 3 feet, I'm just going to duck and crawl under doors? Nikki had asked if the seeds work against animals. And I said, well, yes, they do. But they only work 3 feet. And so
And 4 feet at the most. That's right.
we may have an issue in the house with a little ghost kitty cat.
Ah, okay.
So we may be contacting you, and I just snicker to myself when and I'm like, "Aw."
Yeah, isn't that cute? Too bad you're living there now and not me. So
like we might have a problem now.
right.
But and she's like, she can stay. So my first thing, because I am that person, I'm like, is there a kitty cat under the front porch? Is there? Because I know the ins and outs. And then she's like, no. And I'm like, well, that seed, those are tall doors in that old house. It's not going to go all the way down. So,
And in all honesty, children have used that space also. Little kids scooching down and coming in that way too. And so in some instances, we leave the seat at the top, but we sort of do stuff around a lower level, especially if you have a house that has a habit of having animals come in and out. We can work around it, but yeah, that can absolutely happen.
That's right. Oh, and see, Nikki, somebody else wants a cup like mine. So that being said, Marianne, we're going to put up real quick the 2 pictures. I'm going to show a picture of the tour guide, and this is going to be in the playhouse of what she looks like before. And then there's going to be a second picture where there's something kind of around her face. And Marianne, we already cleared the picture with you, and you kind of agree that there may be something there.
Now, remember, these pictures are in order.
Yes.
So keep that in mind when you see the first one and then go to the second one.
Let's see. So here she is. She's a tour guide. Now her hair was up in a clip, right? No ponytail, nothing hanging down, nothing draped over her shoulder whatsoever. Now she was a very moving, in motion person. This is the second one. So she was in mid-turning. Now you can see that thing wrapped around her neck and coming down the front of her shirt. That is not her hair. Her hair is actually up in a clip.
It's too bad that picture puts her right into the background of that.
And you know what? Because I was focusing on that room behind her. She was not my focal point. This is an accident.
Yeah. And that's normally how most pictures are caught. There's not even any orbs in that picture. There's nothing there, but there's definitely, like I said, the picture cuts her face off anyway. But that part of her head that's still there, it looks like there's a black scarf wrapped around her neck. And it is not. And if you look toward the tail of that, you can actually see the red shirt through it. So it's not solid.
So out of not quite 24 hours and going through the buildings and the like, that's about the only thing we caught down there at the Stanley. And like I said, that was purely by accident. I was trying to focus on that room before she was even talking about it. So trying to be sneaky, catch something unawares. And I guess I kind of did, just not in a location that I thought I was going to. But yeah, that's our ghost pick.
Rest of the room is clear, that's for sure.
All right. So anybody who may have listened to the podcast this morning, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. In the meantime, we'll go up here to Coins and Ghouls. They ask, what about Poltergeist with all the bad juju around the filming? Several actors and actresses dying.
It is Hollywoodized. That is what they do. Yes, and again, I'm going to tell you, movie sets, TV sets, there is tons of ghosts all over that. But again, look at the actors, the actresses, all the equipment, the people running it. You have no idea. I mean, just I'll bet you without a shadow of a doubt, by the time you get the costume people and hair and makeup and everything, just to produce the Ghost Whisperer one show a week, I bet it took over 350 people.
Mm.
Now, they're not all on the set at the same time, but there's a lot of them.
Well, and my first thought would have been some of those scenes, like on the staircase in the movie, where Jack Nicholson is chasing Shelley Duvall up the stairs, right? And very traumatic. Like, she was mentally damaged from the director and everything of what they put her through for that movie. But that whole scene was like a set built somewhere. That wasn't even in the hotel or anything. So, you would think, like, oh, that would have been a really traumatic scene to leave like an energetic imprint. Well, that's not even in the hotel or a hotel. That was on a set somewhere.
That's right.
So it's kind of hard to say. And Marianne was at home. It was just, between the two of us, I was the only one in Denver. And I actually went out there for a gem show, the Denver Fall Gem Show, and purposefully spent a night a couple hours away up at the Stanley just to get to go. Had been a Stephen King fan, as a kid, and Scott is a huge fan. Like, he's one of those, he can tell you dates and times, movies, books released, who was filmed where and what. Like, he's the guy. And he was disappointed. He's like, this is the whole never meet your idols. Like, if you have the Stanley up here, like, don't. Go walk around for free. Don't pay to stay there. But the little fun fact, like, there is a Stephen King suite on the 4th floor, and they have to keep putting up plastic removable placards because everybody steals that placard off of the wall. So quit damaging the hotel, guys, when you go. Stop it. So let's see. Amy asks, how did you get the names of the ghosts and the relationships?
Ask them.
Mm-hmm.
They just, they just told us who they were or told me who they were, and I just repeated their names. That's just what I do. Once they say who they are, so what did you do here? The one person, if you watched it, there was a waitress and a guy that says he was a previous owner. Who knows? Some of them said where they were buried. Some of them said what their wives' names were. Mm-hmm. If somebody had the inkling and had a computer and I guess knew what they were doing, maybe they could even find these people. I was hoping to find Mr. Stanley, but he was nowhere around.
No. And judging by the history of what she said, like, I don't think he would have stuck around. He seemed like a pretty laid back guy that when he was done, he was done. He was crossing. But I was going to ask you, though, Marianne, clearly you and I could hear one another and the ghosts could hear me. But I was going to ask you, like, when you would say, ask them this, were they already answering before I asked? Like, could they hear you and were they responding to you?
Yeah, they were hearing me because it was on speaker, I'm assuming, or they could hear me. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens when we're on Zoom. I'm asking the question and the person is standing in the same room. But sometimes, like I had you, probe them a little bit. Ask them this question because they couldn't see me, but they certainly could see you. And right. So if you're asking them, I was hoping to get more. And we did get some more information that way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just do whatever, you try whatever you can do to get the information from them.
I did not find out much about the guy from the 70s who said, because they had a plaque hanging. Now, mind you, this is how wrapped up in this movie they are. They have a whole area downstairs that shows The Shining 24/7 while they're open, and artifacts from the movie, this and that. And there's a plaque that's hanging in there that's like 3 or 4 generations of the family that currently own it. And they go back and it's farther than the 7. The names did not match. So I don't know who the gentleman may have been. Didn't find a whole lot when I asked the tour guide and some people about some of these names, Marianne, that you had pulled. I got the brush off. They're like, yeah, you would have to ask HR, and they're probably not going to tell you. So
I don't understand.
These people are living. We don't have to worry about talking them.
Right. And if they could have gotten the actual names of who was in the place, you'd think they would have been interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
But see, they've got their own little script going. They don't need anything extra.
Yeah. And the names that were given on the tour did not match any of the names that, you had gotten. So, it is what it is.
I when I was way, way younger, talking to somebody that was in, 40 or 50 or 60 years older than me, I would look at them and go, yeah, okay. And I would think, no, I don't know if you're telling the truth or not. But the older I've gotten, I don't know why, but I think these people are pretty much telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that the people that I found were probably truly there. And the ones that the hotel is adding are probably the extras.
Right. And there's probably a little bug or two in here, because yesterday while working, I had my receiving door open and the front door for a breeze. So there's probably a pesky moth or something in here. Let's see. And Brooke says they are probably used to fake spiritualists telling them about the ghost. And let me tell you, so on this tour, they talk about this ghost. I think her name was Lucy or something of the sort. And they know of her from some mediums or psychic mediums that go through, and none of them can ever get to her history of where she came from and how she got to be there. And anytime they try to ask her, like this one medium went into like convulsions and shaking and darn near threw herself on the floor. And I'm going, really?
No, no, not happening.
So it's a good thing some of this tour was done in the dark, because I'm standing there going,
there's ways around. Okay, I'm looking at a person and they look to me, maybe they're 70 years old. So I say, how old are you? And they won't tell me. Well, okay, what year were you born? Oh, no, they won't tell me that either. So I let it go. But then the homeowner says, well, how old do you think they are? Well, I will purposely say old, probably 85 or 90. The ghost will go, I am not. I'm 70 years old. So there's ways to get information from them if you know what you're doing.
So it's just like that old mothering tactic, like how to get the kid to give you the info you want.
That's right.
So
depending on how good or bad of a teenager you were, you might remember some of that, or if you raise some kids, that will give you a new slant on it. So absolutely.
Are you saying you were naughty, Marianne?
Oh no, I was a good girl.
So Rhonda says, well, if this works for Melissa, anyone can do this with you over the phone.
Well, yeah, that's what people call and leave a message. That's what I tell them when I call them back.
And that's how the Zoom works. So Marianne is seeing, and it's an annoying fly, guys. So I keep having to protect my coffee. She's seeing into wherever place you are. So at that time I was at the Stanley, had the camera on. That's how we did this. There's a few other places we might have lined up that are kind of local here to the Ohio area. So we'll see how those go. We have to do some groundwork first. But there could be some other episodes coming out about local businesses, what they went through, and how it gets solved. Marianne outsmarting the ghosts. So
Nah, she's asking the right questions. Cute, Jeff. Thanks.
But yeah, it was the Stanley. I mean, never have to wonder again. Been there, saw it. There are some ghosts. There are, some really pretty things, like the way they decorate the outside. It almost looks like Christmas year round. It's really, really pretty.
Oh, good. A Hallmark town.
Yeah, like it would be perfect if they wanted to film some Hallmark movies out there. Here's one picture where we had left the hotel and we were walking over to the playhouse and trying to get the moon while walking, but that's their standard light fare. So I'm like, it almost looks like Christmas.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It is pretty out there. I think my big excitement was we went to go get dinner, and right in the middle of the parking lot, they got an elk. And I'm like, oh, I want to go poop its nose. And he's like, do not go touch that thing.
No, they're mean.
I'm like, oh, but he looks so soft. He's like, don't touch it. Let's see. But yeah, just come hang out in my garage. So that is the thing. The garage was not protected, just the house. Marian, we may have to go do just a whole episode on my old property. In the town, on the train path.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's more there than just the house, so.
Yeah. And Vicky says, although Marianne said earthbounds don't sleep, but I think she said her little earthbound dogs sleep at Ted's feet at night. So now I'm confused.
No, the dog lays on Ted's legs while he's sleeping, because that's where he always laid. He's not actually sleeping. Oh, he's just sitting. He's laying there relaxed,
Kind of waiting for the humans to wake up, pretty much.
Correct.
What time are we at? Oh, we're only at 10:30. That felt like we used the whole hour on the Stanley. So let's see, anybody who might be new, if you would have questions about earthbound spirits, hauntings, ghosts, negative energy, portals, fairies, what am I forgetting, Marianne? This is the time to ask. Marianne will answer you live.
Yep. And for those of you that are local, I will be at the store, the Goddess Elite, this Sunday from 1 to 4. So come in, bring pictures, talk to me. Ask me questions. All my products will be there. So if you're looking for something, we've got it. And that will be, there'll only be one more time at the store in December. So this is the second last one for the year. So, and the book club. Listen, we need your support for the book club, or we're not going to be able to continue. This is the book for this October. They serve bagels in heaven. It's 7:00 at night, which is the third Tuesday of the month, which is the 18th, October 18th. It streams, so you can be included. You can ask questions. And this is not anything to learn anything from. This is just a fun book to read. And like I said, but we need more people because it's not worth coming out, for 3 or 4 people. Let's
see. Divine says, with all of the funerals that are being done at Arlington Cemetery, do you think that there may be some earthbounds hanging around? I think military people might stay longer. What are your thoughts?
I've been to Arlington Cemetery, and again, everybody that is in the cemetery is dead. So they are not getting any energy from any of the people that are dead there. Now, you do see them when they're having services going on. You can see an earthbound spirit in that instance. that they're watching and waiting for the planes to fly over and the 21 gun salute and everything, and they're going to go into the light as soon as their relative gets the flag handed to them. But you're right in as much as that there are a lot of military that do not cross over because they think they can go back to wherever the fighting was and help. These guys were strangers when they signed up, but when they leave, they're brothers. They want to help their brothers out. And unfortunately, it's really hard to talk them out of that because all they're going to do is distract somebody that maybe could get hurt. They could help them more if they crossed over. But, they're same personalities they had when they were alive. If you can't talk them into something when they were alive, I'm probably not going to be able to talk them into something when they're dead.
Renee asks, do ghosts follow natural features such as rivers or underground caves, which often have rivers? Some people claim water is a conduit for spirits.
I think some people are attracted to mountains, and some people are attracted to flowers, and some people are attracted to snow, and some people would never live where it's cold. And I think earthbound spirits, if they liked this stuff when they were alive, they are probably obviously still going to like it when they're dead. But no, I don't believe. And I think every sign, there's 4 signs, and I think every sign has their followers as far as earthbounds go. Between fire and water, I think that there's a little bit of interest for any ghost that it's like I'm Pisces and I love water. And so I think that doesn't change just because you're dead.
And Jeff is asking, when you refer to negative energy, just exactly what does that mean?
Some people will call it a curse. Some people will say I've got a spell on me. Some people just call it negative energy. It's negative energy is like the all-purpose definition of curse or anything like that. And so people call it something different. If I said to somebody, you have a curse on you, they'd go, I do not. But if I say, you got a lot of negative energy around you. Oh, yeah, I do. It's the same thing.
Tomato, tomato.
Exactly.
Let's see. So one of our friends, here we go, Amy, says, good morning, ladies. I'm going to Egypt in 4 days. Lucky. Enjoy your trip. And I'm wearing my seat the whole time, also putting a seat on my boyfriend so nothing and no one follows us home. Thank you for the peace of mind.
Oh, you are so smart doing that, believe me, and especially going to Egypt. So that's perfect for you. Great.
And Frog Lady over on Twitch said it's like hide and seek, but Marion can find them with her eyes closed. So you can find the ghosts just about. Let's see. Now here's an interesting opinion. It says everybody believes in ghosts, or everyone who believes in ghosts mostly are religious and have psychotic issues, and they say in their opinion. I have to beg to differ.
Yeah, exactly. Again, there are so many varied personalities and beliefs. Religion, for example. Do you seriously think there are so many gods with so many different names that they're only a Catholic God and a Lutheran God and a Baptist God and a Buddha God? Come on. In my opinion, there's one God with a bunch of different names. And I think the same thing can be applied to that. Religious because you believe in the Holy Ghost? It's more than that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. And I mean, if you want to call it psychotic, as much as the Catholic Church can be problematic, they have a whole sect dedicated to exorcism. And these are very intelligent, non-psychotic people. You can't make a mass judgment.
That's right.
I myself am not religious. So spiritual, not religious.
Right. And there's a difference.
Mm-hmm. Melissa asks, are earthbound solitary or do they have companions?
The only ones that hang out together are children. Children like kids, whether they're alive or dead. So you're going to find a group of kids that hang out. Adults normally do not hang out together because it affects their energy somehow, and I do not know how. But you're going to have exceptions, and one of the exceptions was the Stanley. There were more than one ghost standing close to each other when we did that little tour of the place. And again, I think it's their job in their world right now to do that. But in normal houses, no. They don't sit around at night and play poker. You think they would, but they don't.
Vangela asks, have military earthbounds ever come back to help their friends?
Well, I don't know because I can't see them once they've come back from the light. So I'm going to say I'm sure they do because they wanted to stay to help them. And if I can convince them they can do more when they cross over, then I'm sure they are going back to, to help when they need it.
Mm-hmm. Rhonda says a family member works full-time at a local crematorium and comes in contact with the newly dead daily. Does she need to be concerned about earthbound attachments?
Not as long as she followed the rules and did everything she was supposed to. I had one ghost tell me that before the funeral director cremated her, he took out her gold teeth. And that really upset her.
Mm.
And so, but no, if that's something that the dead person wanted to be cremated and that's what they had decided they wanted, you're following their instructions or their wishes, then you're fine.
Seabrook is also, I'm not religious, spiritual, but not religious. I have an open mind.
Of course.
And Mary Gorman, also non-religious and spiritual, strong belief in ghosts and afterlife.
Of course.
Let's see. So Mary says, hi, Marianne. There's an old man ghost who lives in my basement, doesn't bother anyone or anything. Should I just leave him alone?
Mary, here's the thing. A lot of people think that a ghost stays in one room of the house. You're saying that the ghost lives in your basement. Unless you have somebody live living down in your basement, then your ghost is through your house because they need human energy to keep going. And they're not going to stay down the basement if they can get energy from somebody living upstairs or walking around on the first or second floors. So no, that's why when you smudge a house, you've got to do every room because there's no way that they're just going to stay in one space.
Mm-hmm. Melody says, I'm having trouble finding my voice to talk to loved ones in my dreams. Is there a way to become more lucid while asleep?
I almost think it's practice. I think once you get used to seeing the dead person in your dream, the easier it is. But keep this in mind. You have got to start talking first. You can't wait for them. They're not going to say anything. And I think it's fear of scaring you. But if you see somebody standing there and say, hi, Grandma or hi, Grandpa, then they will talk to you. And get the mugwort and put it under your pillow. That should help you remember and focus more on, being able to talk to
them. Sin says, I have been hearing voices and my dog passed a year ago and I will hear whimpering. I'm wondering if it's my imagination.
Well, that would make me sad to think that a dog has passed over and it's still whimpering. There should be absolutely no reason for it to be whimpering if it's dead. It's not going to feel pain. So now, I suppose it could be whimpering if it's afraid. Or one of my dogs, when I used to come home, would just cry. They were so happy to see us. Are you sure that's not what the dog is doing? Just whimpering because it's happy to see you. Without a phone call or coming on Zoom, I don't really know.
Jeff asks, can the projection of extreme emotion such as love negate negative energy then?
It's energy. Love is in, laughing is energy. But when you have a ghost in your house, it's a lot easier for them to scare you or aggravate you or break something so it costs you money and you put out money there because you're stressed than it is to get you to start laughing. Comedy clubs are full of ghosts because all the energy from everybody laughing. But it's very, very, very hard for an earthbound spirit to make somebody. Now, if you're having family game night and everybody's having fun, yeah, they're going to get energy from that too. But if they can get you to fight with your significant other, oh, that's a whole lot more energy.
Now, if you have like a curse on you, but you have a very loving immediate family that you're living with on a daily basis, can that loving environment degrade or kind of slowly work away the curse that might be on you?
No, negative energy has to be removed. That's the only way. And negative energy grows on you when you are around more negative energy. So it gets thicker and thicker and thicker. But no, at some point it has to be removed. Like people that have negative energy on them and they wear a seed, they will not get any more on them while they've got their quince seed on. But it's not going to remove what's on them. Now, the blessed sea salt soap will help take some of it off a little bit. Taking a bath in sea salt will put little fine lines in it. But the bottom line is it needs to be removed.
Okay. Now, well, since we have kind of spoken on Zoom a few times, if you would like to join a Zoom, if you think you might have ghosts and you want a clarification, if you think you might have a curse, and again, you want clarification, there's the link to join. It is limited in participation. So, don't wait to the last minute. The next one coming up is October 14th of 2022, in case somebody's listening to this years later. And they start at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. So while we love friends from all over the world to join us, please make sure you are adjusting for the time change. We do go until everybody is finished, but if we're ending and it's 10 o'clock at night and we're done and you're 3 hours behind in California and wanting to start, we're done because we started at 7:30. So please be mindful of the time change. And you have to make sure you're in the building that you have a question about. Don't be at work on break if your question is about your house, because it's not going to, Marianne can only tell you about where you're at. So make sure you're in the proper place. Don't call from home asking about your sister's house. So those are kind of roles. And nobody under 18, don't have your little one kind of sitting on the couch next to you. We can see them. We will say they need to leave or you're out. So no trying to sneak little ones in. What else, Marianne? So we've got the Zoom coming up October 14th. We've got the Merry-Go-Round Museum.
That's big.
So it's a really cool big building. It's actually round, and they have a fully functioning full-size merry-go-round in there.
It's huge. Huge.
Yeah. And they'll let you ride it. Doesn't matter how old you are. We're all big kids. We can ride the darn thing. And when Cedar Point is in its off season, that haunted carousel horse from their merry-go-round is stored and maintained in the Merry-Go-Round Museum. So while it's not going to be off season, I don't know if they're still running the merry-go-round. But
yeah, I think they're running the merry-go-round till the end of Halloween.
Okay.
Because they had boo and all, so I think it's still there. We have yet to see that, but there's so many others there. People that came a couple years ago, they got the best pictures. So and it's upstairs. Beware, you're down the basement, there's steps, so be aware of that, up and down. But there's some, you won't, you'll be surprised what you see there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, some really, really beautiful pieces, some really, really creepy looking pieces, like the pig. Like, why would you ever set your child on that pig and think it's going to be a fun time going in a circle? I think it's
People
ghastly.
like pigs. A lot of people collect pigs.
Not that kind. That thing's ugly. It is just creepy ugly. There's nothing cute about that pig. Julie asks, what does a portal feel like? Does it register high on a, well, Miriam wouldn't know about the EVP detector because she doesn't have to use them. But Miriam, what does a portal feel like to you?
I can see it. But I will have, if I'm in somebody's house and they have a portal, I will ask them, do you want to see what it feels like? Some people go, oh no. And other people wait, oh yes. What I tell them to do is run the palm of your hand on a section of the wall and then put that palm of your hand over where the portal is. Different things. Some people can feel like air blowing on the palm of your hand. Some people could feel, you remember canister vacuums that have the long tubes? And if you put the tube on the palm of your hand, how it would suck your palm in a little bit. Some people feel that. Some people, as soon as they put the hand up there, they'll get a headache or their stomach will do a flip-flop. There's a sense of something there. I'll close it and I will make you try again, and that feeling is totally gone. So you can usually feel it. I'm most of the time, I can't even remember the last time somebody didn't feel something. So it's if it's there, you're going to feel it.
Sandy, who helped with us last year, said, yes, it's a creepy thing, that pig. She agrees. Let's see. Melanie asks if earthbound spirits can be protective of people or places.
Some of them stay and think they're going to protect a place or a person, and they found out that once they're here and didn't go into the light, they made a huge mistake because they cannot do that.
And when using salt for bathing, the question is, does it have to be sea salt or can it be Epsom salt?
Sea salt. Absolutely sea salt.
Let's see. The question, I think Julie asked it, but I don't see it now. She was asking if a portal can be on 2 floors. Can they become big enough to be multiple floors?
The one house I was in, the house was only 27, 28 years old. And 4 families that lived in that house, every one of them got a divorce. That house had a portal on each floor, but they were not combined.
Let's see. Frog Lady wants to know, where can they send pictures for you to check out? So you prefer what? Actual printed pictures if possible.
Correct.
And you can find that address on Marianne's website, which is...
Now, wait a minute. Does she want pictures for us to show here? Because they would have to come to you.
Right, true. So do you mean for us to put up here, or do you want to just show Marianne? And if you're local, you can just bring them.
Bring them on Sunday. Absolutely.
Yeah. Marianne's website, though, has the phone number to call where you could pictures if you need to buy a Quincy, Dream Pillow, smudge salts, things like that. If you want to send pictures in electronically, that's funny. Somebody went in and changed all my banners.
That's funny. That wouldn't be funny to me.
Said that kind of.
Yeah, I caught that.
Like, who's been in here playing with my banners? Here is the email to send. This is for the podcast. You could send pictures. So if you're not local, have them like saved on your phone or whatnot, you can send them here. And we will take a look at them and maybe even put them up. Sarcastic kind of fun. Yes.
Yeah.
Valerie wants to know if you've ever been inside the Franklin Castle in Cleveland.
I was supposed to do that place a number of times, and at the last minute it was canceled. I cannot tell you how many times the police department has taken me down there. I can see them in the windows, but I have not ever been in. I've seen somebody, and I don't know who, and I don't need to know who, but somebody, some paranormal group was in there doing a ghost walk. I'm still not sure exactly what it is the heck they saw, but I've talked to people that were in there. One of the radio shows actually, John Lanigan, I forget what station he was on, but him and Jimmy Malone, they actually were inside the Franklin Castle, and I talked to them when they were in there, and there definitely are ghosts in there, positively. And when nobody is using the castle or it's being repaired or just shut down, there is so many. On Franklin Street, there's one of the men's homeless men's shelters there. When they're not in the castle, they're over at the shelter, and they can get all kinds of energy there.
It's funny, there was a castle that went up, and everybody was sharing it on Facebook. I think it was like Rocky River, something like that. And I'm like, imagine that. And it's in Cleveland, or actually it's in the Cleveland area. And
is it in River?
You know what? I'm gonna have to look for it.
It's the place I think it is. They made apartments or condos out of it.
Nope. It's just a house. And what's funny, and I love creative photography in real estate. So all the pictures make it look like it's got this wooded property around it. But if you Google map the address and turn it around, it's nothing but like streets or houses jam-packed on the street, like next to it and across from it. And I'm like, well, there takes that, away.
There was a big building that looked like a castle from the outside. And I have done a couple. They somehow remodeled the inside and made condos out of them. And I've done a couple condos in that castle-like building. But I'm pretty sure that was in River.
So this is on West 44th. This one right here. And
I don't think I knew that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so, it looks like it looks really cool. No.
Yeah, but if you Google map the address and just spin the camera around, you're right in the middle of regular suburbs, and and I'm like,
now that place is open to the public?
Well, it's pending now. It's for sale.
Oh, okay.
And it was $250, but it's pending right now.
It was $250,000?
Mm-hmm.
That's all?
Yeah. Yep.
You probably need $500,000 to fix it up.
There you go. No central air, no central heat, and I'm like, so things for me, like, it's got to have air conditioning, and it's being sold as is. So you assume all stuff, going on. Yes, Denise, that one, and it's already pending. Somebody's always stretching it, but it
would have to be a group, a consortium that bought it and put it together and make something cool out of it. But that would.
But I'm like, Marianne, we have our own castle to do ghost walks in, and then I'm like, no, I'm not putting the work into that.
Nope.
It's like, Marianne, you can assume my apartment. I'm moving to the castle.
Yeah, there you go. We can do a wing a week.
That's right. But so yeah, if you are in the local area and you know of places, or if you have friends that own businesses or places and wouldn't mind us coming in and recording, looking around, send us an email. We'll get in touch. Because everybody seemed to really like what we did at the Stanley. That was kind of a last minute, like, hey, I'm going. Let's see if this works. And it did.
Yep, I'm
So,
doing a filming on Friday for Channel 3 that's going to be aired. Oh, I'm assuming on Halloween, of course. But we're filming it day after tomorrow. So that should be pretty interesting.
mhm. Oh, yeah, Denise, about that cow. She's like, it's in a bad location right by the food. It costs a lot of money and it goes up every couple of years. And yeah.
That's what actually happened with Franklin Castle. You know, people, but that was, I can't even imagine those poor people. That was a nurse, they made that into a nursing home at one point. Could you
Mhm.
imagine sticking your mother that needs 100% care in a nursing home in Franklin Castle?
No,
I think that's just doesn't make any sense to me. So,
no.
and the gal that owns or was a big thing of Google from Washington State. She bought it after the fire and she was going to fix it up. And then that went down the tubes. And then another man bought it and it was going to make it a gentleman's club. And that went down the tubes. And there's so many secret stairways in that place that nobody ever talks about. I don't understand why. But yeah,
Mhm.
that place is unbelievable.
I'm going to be that old lady that has the hidden passageways and secret
Okay,
stairways, like
there you
my
go.
dream house.
With your eyeballs in the picture on the wall, right? So you can
Right.
watch.
That's right. Absolutely. I'm going to know when my kids and grandkids are doing wrong. I'm going to find out. I'm going to be running through the walls. All right. Oh, we're already a little after 11. So, if you have any questions, if you have ghosts or location suggestions, please send to the email there on the screen. If you want to join us on Zoom, make sure you do it sooner than later because they do fill out. Yeah, the Winchester House, a la Melissa. That's right. um, let's see. But yeah, feel free to send in pictures or videos even to the Gmail and join us on Zoom if you think you have anything that needs to be investigated.
And
I'm glad.
hopefully you'll make it, Brooke, for Sunday too. And you and everybody else down in Florida, boy, take cover. Be careful down there.
Yes. And that being said, when it comes to Sunday, about what, 6:30, 7 o'clock ish, see how long it takes to get set up and turn on. We are going to be reading WTF letters. I almost said the full thing, and I'm like, I don't want to get you in trouble for cursing. um, it's going to be live only while we're doing it. Once that broadcast ends, it comes down. You will not be able to share it with friends and family and watch. The only way then to participate with it is to listen to it as a podcast. So catch it live while we're doing it. You can watch us laugh or not laugh as we're reading these letters, trying not to snort tea or wine out of our nose while we're doing this. And catch us Sunday. It'll be an exclusive special event. So we're going to be aiming around 6:37-ish. The store closes at 6. I've got to get everybody out while that's being set up and go on and then get over there and act like, I was ready the whole time. So that's what we're going to shoot for. So after Marianne's event in the store, we'll be setting up, getting ready for that. So, and Sandy's going to be one of our readers. So take pity on us all.
And think of poor me, because I have to answer those letters. Because people think, these people need, no, that's what these people want, answers to their questions. So, oh yeah, it's not going to be good.
And if we can, Miss Brooke is going to be joining us. So please keep her in your thoughts and positive energy. And she will be joining us for this reading if she can. So please help keep her safe during these storms coming in and everybody in Florida.
Okay, have a good week, everybody, and hopefully we'll see some of you on Sunday.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.